Hi guys, today I am working on this 1987 Corolla, and I'll be removing the differential for backlash tuning. The first step will be to remove the half shafts. Um, After removing the wheel, remove the brake caliper. It's one bolt on the top and one bolt on the bottom. So after removing the caliper, the brake disc will be easy to take out. So just take the brake disc out, and then you have to remove these bolts, align the hole with the bolt, and then just remove all the bolts to unseal the half shaft. After removing the two half shafts, remove all the bolts surrounding the differential in order to remove it. Oh yeah! uh, let's let the oil come out as much as possible, and then we will take this out. First thing you need to do is to position your differential in a way that it's the pinion, which is the gear that comes from the gearbox, is held securely in place in your vise, so that the pinion does not rotate. So I have it. This is the end part of the differential, and it's securely held in place so that there can be no movement in this gear. Now, second step is to position your dial indicator as in a perpendicular fashion against the teeth of the crown, which is this very large gear. You carefully position your dial indicator over the teeth in a perpendicular fashion, like I said. Make sure that the dial indicator is only coming into contact with one tooth of the gear, not in contact with anything else. And how do we measure the backlash? If the pinion is held in place, the only thing that can move here is the crown. And the crown will have a certain, let's say, that's the name, the backlash. It's a space between the pinion and the crown through which the oil will go through, not to make sure that this does not overheat with the rotation, because the contact between these teeth and the teeth in the pinion can heat things up, and this will fail prematurely. So in this case, This has to be tuned to allow a minimal amount of the correct amount of oil to pass between the two gears. That's why there is the backlash, because if the gears were perfectly mated, they would heat up and this would fail. So to measure the backlash, you hold the differential, you pay attention to the needle, make sure that it does not move, and move the crown one way and the other. You see the needle moving? Like that. That's the backlash. That's what we are measuring here. In this case, I'm seeing that between 40 and like 18, this has like 0.22 millimeters of backlash, which is beyond spec, because according to the manual, the maximum backlash for the differential is between 0.13 millimeters and 0.18 millimeters. So we have to tune this up to reduce the backlash, because this is becoming too loose. Now, to tune the backlash, we will need to turn these wheels around. You see, this does not depend, an important point to stress out is that this does not depend, this tuning procedure does not depend on your skill with the hands or anything like that, because Toyota made this in a way that you will have to unbolt these two screws to make this assembly turn. And when you this is tuned by notches, so this is not continuous, does not depend on your skill with your hand trying to tune this. When you are tightening or loosening the backlash, you have this is done so that this is done by notches. When you turn one notch to the one side, you turn another notch to the other side, and then you retighten this claw here. So this is really a precise measurement. There is no need for fear doing this measurement. Toyota uses a special service tool for this. Since I do not have a special service tool, I'll be making my own, because the goal here is to only turn this like this. You need something with two pins to fit in two opposite holes in this round part. So I'm getting just a regular I don't know, regular sheet of metal, and I'll be using this long bolt, which I'll be cutting in two, with two nuts that I will tighten in two spots, which I choose from all these holes, which ones will fit the most appropriately in those two holes, and then I will just need this to turn this around, like one or two notches maybe, to tune this backlash back to its original manufacturer's spec. So there it is, my special service tool. We will be inserting this into the matching holes, like so, and then turning this one way or the other to tune the backlash. So, but first we have to loosen these two bolts to unlock these the turning wheels. And okay, So now to make this assembly loose so that we can rotate it, I will be removing the bolts from the bearing caps. Remove the bearing cap bolts and set them aside. Also remove the two adjustment nuts, which are these pieces here, and be sure to tag them with, for example, I am tagging this one as the pinion adjustment nut, and then the other one will be the ring adjustment nut because it's on the side of the ring. Be sure not to mismatch the two nuts for the reassembly, because we have to put this thing back together and we have to know which one goes where. After removing the adjusting nuts and removing the bearing races, you will have them separated into two bags, one for the pinion and one for the pinion side gear and the pinion side race and adjusting nuts, as well as the bearing cap, and on the other side the bearing cap, the adjusting nut and the race for the ring side. I put a small paper in there to tell me that this is the pinion one and this is the ring side, cap, bearing race and adjusting nut. So now we'll be putting the thing back together and adjusting the backlash. To reassemble, place the bearing caps on their respective places. The important thing here is not to mismatch the races from one side to the other, because they may have, for example, different wear levels and they only match their corresponding bearing. This has to fit nicely. Making them straight is the purpose of the adjusting nuts. For this fall, I'll start putting in the adjusting nuts. Just make sure that you leave the threads, the space for the adjusting nuts, clear. So move the bearing caps towards the place where there is no thread. Now place the adjusting nuts on each side of the differential. Make sure that they fit in the threads. Make sure that the nut fits in nicely over the thread, not cross-threading anything. May have to readjust the bearing race on the other side. Another thing, when doing this you have to adjust this in a way That's why we have to disassemble it. You have to adjust this in the way that there is backlash, so that you can later tune it. So move the adjusting nuts one thread to the outside or one thread to the inside until you see backlash. You can see a lot of backlash here. So I'll move it one thread closer to the inside. You see, there is backlash. So now I go to the other one and place it on its side. So let me see. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 threads. I'll show you what I mean. You see the threads there? Count the number of threads on one side and on the other, and then insert your races there. See the oil coming out? That's nice. That's a sign that this is well threaded. See the oil bubbling? Yeah, this is well threaded. So make sure that there is backlash and that you are seating this properly when reassembling. Putting the bearing caps back in their places. Make sure to check for the holes. Look inside the holes and see if they are properly aligned. Like you will see when you insert the bearing cap. If you notice that it is like one thread to that side or one thread to this side, this hole here will not be aligned with the hole in there. So I'll show you what I mean. You see this is disaligned because even though it fits, there are threads that fit. You have to check if when inserting the bearing cap, look inside to see if the hole, this hole here, is aligned with this one perfectly. And then you see the hole there in there? Make sure that they are both aligned before inserting the bolts. A good rule of thumb for this while you're performing this operation is don't use any tools, just use your hands. If you can't manage to tighten up any bolt, this is a sign of cross-threading maybe, so you're not tightening things well. So both while putting in the bearing caps and putting in the bolts, you have to always use your hands. Don't use any tools. And if you can get things to fit, well, that's a sign you're putting things together well. After tightening the 4 bolts, you have to get your special service tool and start with the ring side. Starting with the ring side, you have to tighten the adjusting nut, which is this part, until the backlash is it is exactly 0.2 millimeters. So we have to get our dial indicator. get the dial indicator and place it on the outer part of the ring and perpendicular to the ring, to the teeth of the ring. After tightening the ring gear side bolt, check the backlash. See exactly 0.2 millimeters. So this is correct. Now we can proceed to the adjustment of this side here. There is not a rule for, like, if you tighten you gain backlash, if you untighten you lose backlash. It's, well, you have to play with it on both sides by tightening and untightening until the backlash is right. For measuring, I recommend that you measure the backlash in like 3 different positions. Make this rotate, the assembly rotate, and the assembly in the measured backlash, and in 3 different positions along the ring. After you have achieved the backlash of the 0.2 millimeters for this intermediate step, place the dial indicator on top of the bearing cap, like so, on the ring side, and we will be tightening on this side until the needle starts to move. That's to achieve 0 bearing preload on this side, on this bearing. I'm tightening the on the pinion side nut. You can see the needle moved. Now I have to tighten a further 1 or 1.5 notches from the 0 preload position, which is, let's see, you have to tighten an additional 1 or 1.5 notches on this side. Okay, that's it. When adjusting the backlash, you when you tighten one side, you have to untighten the other to make the gear move in order to adjust the backlash. That's how you do it. You try to be methodic about this, not try to experimenting how to not to experiment how to tighten this. Go over 1 notch every time. You tighten 1 notch, you untighten 1 notch. Okay, so this is the final result of this tuning. Now we have a backlash of 0.16 millimeters. You can see it there. The the interval goes from 0.13 to 0.18, so I opted for somewhere in the middle. Well, that's it. Torque the 4 bolts softly, one at a time. For example, you make tighten this one 2 turns, for example, or 1 turn, then this one another turn, then this one a turn, and this one another turn. That's to make this go into its place smoothly. Okay, now we have to tighten the bearing cap bolts. There are 2 torque specs, and in the case of the AE86 with a 4 AGE motor, you have to torque according to the 6.7-inch differential or LSD spec, which is 58 foot-pound. This smaller, weaker differential came in the 4AC and another engine with carburetors. For the 4AG motor, it's the larger differential, 6.7-inch with the higher torque spec. So let's tighten this up. Don't forget to disarm your torque wrenches once you're done with them, or else they'll wear out prematurely. So the final step is to check the contact, the mating between this gear and the pinion, between the ring and the pinion down there. You see it down there. Well, I'm using anti-seize compound for this because it's the most shiny paste that I have. But well, if you have the red dye that they recommend, obviously you should use it. So just put a very thin coat on this, and we have to coat like, let's see, 3 or 4 teeth in the crown in 3 different locations. I'll be putting a coat of this paste on the on there, and then on this surface here also. Just a little bit, you don't need a lot, because this will smear and you will have to clean it afterwards. So we have to take a look at the contact made by the pinion in the crown. When you see metal like all over the tooth, it's okay. It's the pinion is going all over the tooth also, and it's well mated. You can see here what they mean. If you have contact only on one side, it's wrong. This is wrong. What you want is this, the contact all over the surface. And in this case, let's look at where I painted. Okay, I'll fix this and I'll continue the filming. As you can see, the pinion is entering contact with the crown all over the surface, and the paste that I used is getting pulled over to the sides and to the inner part of the ring, and we can see the shiny metal that is exposed from the smearing of the paste. I did this in 3 places. You see here, it smears all over there, and the excess paste is going to the inside, and in here also. So 3 places and 3 evaluation spots in the ring. Okay, to check the contact between the ring and the pinion, I was using anti-seize grease, but it does not seem to be enough, because I spoke with some people that already did this job, and they recommended that I use the ink. So I bought this little bottle of ink. It's blue, so that it should be very clear, the contact. And well, we have to smear the ring with a bit of ink, like 3 or 4 teeth on 3 different places of the ring. Like I'll be doing this here, here, and on the other side, which is not visible at the moment. And then we will see about the contact. When coating this, use a very small amount of ink. Like I'm just using the tip of my screwdriver and coat it with a very thin layer. Just make sure you don't see the metal, but coat it very thinly, just from the tip of the screwdriver, like so. Just make sure that you don't see the metal, but you have to use just a drop per teeth, per tooth of the differential. Okay, the final step is to tighten the locking claws. Place them on the matching hole, and then just tighten them. Okay, let's use the torque wrench, 9 foot-pound. There it is. Now the second one on the other side. Okay, so there it is. It's done. Now I'm removing the remainders of the old gasket to make a new gasket with silicone, with high temperature silicone, which will ensure higher durability of this seal. Before reinserting the half shafts, be sure to apply some brake cleaner to clear up the remains of the old gaskets, and apply some brake cleaner to the surface to ensure that the surface is free of grease. Also, do the same for the surface where the gasket will be made in the wheel hubs. So apply your silicone gasket maker, and let's put this in the car. After placing the half shaft, you have to be careful not to let the half shaft come into contact with the surrounding gasket. Just insert it through the middle, not scraping on the bottom. You have to place the nuts and tighten the nuts. It's very simple. Just ensure that you spin this around to match the nut you're tightening. Now retighten the nuts Using your torque wrench set for 48 foot-pounds, the 4 bolts must be tightened according to this spec. Okay,